Hello there. In last few videos, we have familiarized ourselves with EC2 and we have launched an EC2 instance with the Linux-based operating system. Now you can also create other kind of systems like Windows-based operating system. You can go for the third-party AMIs which are there available on AWS Marketplace and launch them as a new EC2 instance. Now today we'll see that how to launch a Windows instance and how to connect with that particular Windows system. So let's go ahead. Let's open to our aws.amazon.com, our web console on AWS. So go to EC2 dashboard and click on the launch instance. Now process looks similar. Here also you have to select an AMI, you have to go through some security settings, some other configurations. So it is different from Linux system only based on the few parameters. And as we go along, we'll talk about those things. First of all, we'll go and browse through all the AMIs available. So for Windows based AMIs, you have got this particular AMI eligible for free tier. So if you are looking for creating a Windows based instance in free tier account, you can go for this, or you can go for this Windows free tier eligible or these other servers. Now keep in mind that if you don't want to get charged, if you are just learning AWS, then it is strongly suggested that you go for free tier ones. In enterprises, it will depend on your need. So I'm going to go ahead with the first one which is available, Windows Server 2016 base edition. So select it, select the common instance type which is t2.micro, again eligible for free tier. How many instances, what type of network. Make sure that we have this auto assign public IP as enabled, either by using subnet setting enable or explicitly by clicking on this enable. The meaning of this is that only when you auto assign a public IP, then only you will be able to connect to this server from your normal laptops. Otherwise, the server, the EC2 instance that will get created, that would have only private IP, and that would mean that you can access to that instance from within the same VPC. Since we want to connect to this system from our own laptop, so we have to give it public IP. Rest of the things I'm again going to keep it same. If you want to know the meaning of it, you can refer back to our launching EC2 instance. There we have explained all about these other parameters. Go to next. And now here is the thing. As we have talked about AMIs in a separate videos, there we have talked about that AMI also has the information about the EBS volumes attached to it. So now this particular AMI is also EBS volume, and so was the other one in Linux. But here you can see that just by changing the AMI, you see the size of it changes. So Windows takes 30 GB of storage space on EBS volumes just for one EC2 instance, whereas Amazon Linux takes only 8 GB. Now again, if you are using free tier and you don't want to overshoot your limits, then be aware of the Windows based instances because they are going to take 30 GB of EBS volume, and under free tier you are only eligible for 30 GB of EBS volumes. So make sure that you are within your EBS volume limits, otherwise you might be charged. So here I am going ahead with all the default settings, 30 GB. If I decrease this size, it may not work. It will not work in fact. So I'm going ahead with this. Next, add tags. I can give it a name here. Name my Windows server. Next. Now here is another difference from your Linux based systems. Since we are launching a Windows based system, and the default way to connect to this Windows based system is remote desktop protocol, RDP. So here the default inbound rule which is available for us in the security group is RDP based. You can see this port range 3389 is the port number which is used by default by RDP protocol, remote desktop protocol. So when you are creating a Windows based instance, make sure that you have got at least this particular rule in your security group. Otherwise you would not be able to connect to your Windows system from outside the network. When I say outside the network, I mean outside the virtual private cloud. Again, we'll talk about virtual private cloud going forward in separate videos. So here you need to make sure that you open this particular port so that connection with the Windows based system can be established. Now other than that, also you can give any of the rules, whatever you deem fit. I'm going to go ahead with only one rule and then review and launch. So till here you see that most of the things have been similar. Now I'm going to again create a new key pair, though I can use the older one that I had. I'm just going to make a new key pair, Windows key pair. And I'm going to download the key pair. So this is .pem file and I'm going to launch the instances. I can now go and view instances, and here it is, my Windows server is getting launched. So we'll refresh the page and you'll see that it is now running. So it is ready to be connected. Now how to connect to this system? You can get some help by just clicking on this and clicking on connect button here. Now as we discussed that we use RDP protocol to connect to a Windows based instance, here it is going to give you a remote desktop file which will help you to connect to that particular system, download remote desktop file, and also it is going to generate a password. This password will be generated with the help of the .pem file that you have downloaded as key pair file. So let's click on the get password. So if you do click on the get password before it gets properly initialized, then it will give you this kind of error. We should wait here for a few more minutes and then we can try again. So let's try again. Now I'm going to close it and we'll try again a bit later when this is initialized properly. Now we've waited for a few minutes. Let's try to connect to that again. Get password, and here you go. Now I can upload the key pair which we have downloaded earlier as a last part of our creation of the EC2 instance. Choose file. So here I have my Windows key pair.pem that I have downloaded. Click on that, open it. It will copy the content of that file here itself. And now we can create a password out of this particular key pair file. Decrypt password, and this is now my password. Now we should keep it saved, and now I can close it. To connect to that now, we just need to click on that .rdp file that we downloaded. Click on that, and here it will give you some warning about unverified certificates. I'll just connect to it. It will prompt for the password that I have already downloaded. I've copied the password and pasted it here. Again a warning about the certificates. Go ahead and click on yes. Now here you go, you are entering into the Windows server that you just created. So it will take some time to initialize the settings. So here you go, it gives you detail about this particular virtual machine, and you can click on the directory and you can see it looks like similar to your desktop. Now you can go to the PC and here you'll see that there is one drive called local disk C having 30 GB of total space on which Windows has been installed. So if you want, the same way you added volume into your Linux systems, you can also add extra EBS volumes here as well, and that can be added here as a separate drive. So let's see how to do that. I'm just going to minimize it, going back to my console, going to volumes, and I have one of my volumes here. Anyway, we can create a new volume for associating to that instance. Create volume, make sure that you give proper size here. I'm just giving here 2 GB. Make sure that you have created it in the same availability zone as well. So I'll just double check it. So my running instance Windows server is in IP South 1A. So I'm going to create the volume also in IP South 1A and going ahead with the normal settings. So here you go. I'm going to give it a name, Windows volume. Now adding that volume to Windows is fairly easy. You just need to select that and you have to click on the attach volume. Then select the instance, which is Windows server, and just click on attach. So till here it was similar to what we did with Linux based instances. Created the volume and attached the volume. Now the next thing we need to do in EC2 instances with Linux based system was mounting this. Now here also we have to do similar kind of settings, albeit it would be in the Windows based server, so it would be a bit different. So now it has attached it. Let's go to our Windows based system that we launched. It won't be visible here even if you refresh it. So we should go to the disk management utility. So just click on the disk and here you will find the option for setting of disk, and here you go. Now our 2 GB of disk space is unallocated and this is offline. Just click on here, right click and click on online. Right click on this again and click on initialize disk. You can select the partition style. I'm going with MBR, and here you go. Now it's online. Now only thing you have to do is you have to allocate it. So right click on this space and create a simple volume. Keep going to next, and you can change the assigned drive later. So I'm going ahead with the D and next. Perform a quick format and you can give the volume name. Finish it. So it is now healthy and it has become primary partition. You can see now that you have got a new volume drive. So this is basically your extra EBS volume that we created and we just attached to it. So that's all to this video. See you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching.